I mean, we in the United States, in much of the West, could point to the freedom of the press as one of the big differences between our way of life, our society, our form of government, and what was on the other side. And we spent a lot of time, making the argument as to why freedom of the press was so essential. And I don't think it surprises anybody to hear me say now we are facing some of the same attitudes toward the press, weaponizing political opposition to the press that we used to point at and say, no, that happens there, but not here.
Certainly authoritarian regimes don't pretend to have freedom of the press, but we were even hearing from political candidates for president, at least one of them. Donald Trump is often called the press the enemy of the people.
That's exactly right. That's my point, Margaret. I think too many people, frankly, in the press, as well as all the rest of us, don't take these threats as seriously as they should. The campaign that Trump is running, the people who enable him, who are allied with him, they, at the very least, disdain the press, because the press will not, in many cases, report what they want to see reported. And so for Trump in particular, but he's not the only one, but obviously he's the leading example, to be attacking the press on a regular basis, to be inciting the crowds that come to his rallies to turn on the press that are actually there to cover it, to deny the reality that the press is reporting, and to only go to outlets that are his political allies that are not, in my view, acquainted with the idea of objectivity because they are in cahoots with his effort to return to power for whatever reason, financial, ideological, religious, partisan, whatever the reason is. So he's comfortable with press, which is using the term very loosely, that agrees with him and reports only what he wants them to report, and all the rest of the press is illegitimate, enemy of the people, hoax, perpetrating hoaxes on us and the rest.
Well, you never got any bad press, so you didn't have to call them the enemy of the media.
No, I'm not going there. No.
What is something you see happening in the near future that we should be taking more seriously?
Well, I do think that the press needs a consistent the press that's not supporting Trump blatantly, very persistently, the press that's trying to be the press, be objective, be, reporting the facts, the press needs a consistent narrative about the danger that Trump poses. Because, people may still look at the danger and say, I don't care, it doesn't affect me, I'm going to vote for him for X, Y, or Z, but okay. But at least people need to be woken up and given the facts about what he has done, is saying, and would do. And I anticipate that, something will happen in October, as it always does. The Russians, as I said earlier, are very active in this election. We know the Iranians are active as well. Chinese uses TikTok, or they certainly did against Biden and for Trump. I think they're a little less pro-Trump right now. So you look at where people get their information, and they get their information largely from social media. And so the campaign is doing the best job it can to combat that, combat both domestic and foreign false disinformation. But I anticipate there will be a full court press in October. The digital airwaves will be filled. And why does that matter? Because the press that is pro-Trump anyway, oftentimes stories are put on digitally that then are picked up by, let's say, at Fox and others. And then those stories are stories, so the mainstream press reports on them, and so that story then takes on a life of its own. There will be concerted efforts to distort and pervert Kamala Harris, who she is, what she stands for, what she's done.